Hey guys, so today we're going to be going through one of the small Year 9 welding projects that we do at our school, and it is this one just here that I've drawn up on CAD. It's important to do this up on CAD because it gives you vital CAD skills and will teach you how to do it effectively. And also just shows you all the different parts that you need to cut out, although it will not be perfect because there's some things that are quite difficult to do, such as putting those U-shapes on the ends there. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to have to go up here and we're going to start a new drawing. We're going to start our sketch in the top left there, and we're selecting our top plane. Now each of these, if you imagine that they are 6mm rod, so 6mm, and we've got our circle there, and I'm going to extrude that. So this is literally just going to be one of the feet that we're going to extrude 50mm, almost at 540, that would have been bad. So that's one of our feet there. So this one is good, nice and easy because you don't actually have to do anything. It's literally just stays like that and we attach things to it. So now if I go to new here, up top left, standard millimeters again, we're actually going to create this top section. So if I go here, and we're going to create the full layout for this. One of the beauties of, oops, we're not going to do that. We're going to go to circle. So one of the beauties of, I'm going to go 50, press enter there. 100% actually did the wrong thing. It's meant to be 25. Cool. So one of the beautiful things about, I was going to say Unreal Engine then, but about Auto Desk Inventor is that it will, when you use the sweep tool, it'll sweep all the way along the line, so you don't actually have to have it specifically at an end. So if you start it somewhere, and it will go all the way down, and that is a really good thing sometimes, and in our case it is a good thing. I'm just going to trim that, delete that line, so we've got our nice U shape. We're going to make another line down here. We want that to go down 100mm. Right click and go OK. So we've got that U shape with our line going down. Finally, so what we need to do is we're going to get out of this sketch without extruding anything, because we need to go over to Origin, the top left, and we are going to use Origin quite a bit in this project. Left click on Origin, so it gives us the option to create a sketch on it, and we're going to create our sketch. So now what I'm going to do is I switch around just like that so I can see where I want to go. We're going to go circle. I'm going to zoom in and we're going to get it right on the end of that. There, 6, enter, right click OK. So we've got that set up like that. So now if I go to 3D model and go to sweep, it will let me, oh, it's going to make me a liar. It's going to make me a liar. So I'm going to go OK for that. And we're simply going to have to do that one more time. So if I sketch on here, start sketch on there, we're going to make our line from the bottom there, make that 100, and go OK. And then we're going to simply go back to our plane here. See, so I'm going back to this same plane. I'm going to go circle, whoops, sorry, skipped a step. So we're going to go back to this plane. We're going to right, there we go. We're going to right click on that because we have to finish our sketch first. Click on that and start our sketch on here, and this is going to be 6 again. So the problem with this now is that it's going to be overhanging a little bit, but I'll show you how to cut that out effectively afterwards. So if I go 3D model and we go sweep, I'm going to sweep that, and I'm going to sweep it down there. Is that going to go full length? Follow path, sweet. Not sure why this isn't going all the way to the end, but hopefully we can mess with this a little bit. Solid sweep is off. Alright, cool. So what we might have to do is change that a little bit. So what's trying to do is follow the 100mm, right? And so going from there isn't actually going to work. So let's get rid of that. Finish sketch. And delete that sketch that we made there. So the easiest way to actually do that now that that's not working for me and wasn't too happy, I'm going to finish that sketch, delete it, we're going to edit sketch. I'm just going to delete that line because we no longer need it, finish that. Now we're just going to simply do a sketch on here and then cut it out afterwards. So left clicking on our circle tool, making that 6, pressing enter, okay. So then trying to think about how far some of these things are away. So we still have 100 millimeters coming out of the bottom there. So if I measure from here to, let's do that, from there to, not going to help me, is it? Oh, we're going to have to do it in an even more clunky way, which is frustrating because I don't like doing things clunky ways. We'll leave that. So still need that sketch there, but what we're going to have to do is draw on this plane here, and we're going to finish that sketch first. Draw on this plane, new sketch, and we're going to go the line tool. Line tool from there, and we'll actually go halfway. So it's going to be 12.5. Okay, so finish sketch, delete that sketch that we've just made, and going back to this one. And what we're going to do is go 3D model extrude, and we're going to extrude that 1, 12.5. Alright, cool. So that should give us our 100 millimeters from there. And now we'll cut this out, so because we're going to get halfway through. So go back over here to the XZ plane, new sketch, and we're going to go circle. I did say we were going to go halfway, but it's actually going to look just as good if we, well, it's going to look the same as my other one. We'll go to just there, 3D model, extrude again. We're going to cut, and we're going to do it both ways and say okay. So now you can see we've created this. When we're making it in the workshop, we actually have to make the U-shape separate to that, and then we're going to braze weld them on. Unfortunately, we obviously can't do that on this program. Well, I don't have the skills to do that. I'll be the first one to admit to do that on this program, so we're going to be messing with it from that. Last thing we want to do is make a new sketch on that plane there, and we're actually going to cut this out here, there. So 6mm circle, 3D model, extrude. Clicking on the edge of that is important, and we're going to cut it both ways and go okay. So that way that is going to fit perfectly over one of our, well, over the feet that I've just made. So what we could do now, so you can see we've made that and we've made the foot there. We could also make the brace quickly before we decide to put it all together. Actually, I might put them together first. So what I'm going to have to do, and remembering our filing system, so I'm going to go save. And you can see here that I've already made this previously, just checking everything works. So I'm going to make a new folder called Balancing 2. And I'm going to call that foot. I'm going to save this here as well. And I'm going to call this one upright. Alright, brilliant. So we've got our foot, we've got our upright. Let's put them together so that we've got an assembly that isn't going to move around in our other assembly. So that, if that makes sense. So there are parts that could possibly move around and less things to fiddle with if we do it this way first. So if we place this in, I normally try to place the, we're just going to have to find our symbol 2. Open that, upright. I would use that, but sometimes keeping the shape simple that you're going to import initially is actually a good thing. So now I'm going to constrain this to my different origins. So if I go, say, that one first, constrain, and we're going to constrain it to the end there, and we're also going to constrain that as well, and go okay. So now this is all good. It's not. It's only going to move up and down on that plane there. So that should be fine. So now what we can do is place in our upright, open that up, go okay, whoops, place, upright. I forgot to left click instead of right clicking to bring that in, right click and go okay. Now this one's super simple. We're going to constrain that to there. It's going to constrain both center lines because we've done that nice cutout. That works really, really well. The next thing we're going to use is our tangent tool. So that's going to select the edge of this circle here and the end there. So you can see how that's actually made that edge tangent to that. Now when you think that we're going to take away half of the width of this upright here, so we need a 6mm thick. We're not taking away, we're adding it on when it moves into it. So we need to move this over 28mm. Sorry, wrong way, negative 28mm. and we'll go okay. And let's always, like always, I do make mistakes, so I'm going to double check, and that looks like it's perfect to me. The maths was correct. Okay, so the only thing I'm noticing now, so if we go back to our other one, you notice that we've done this slightly wrong. So you can see how that is actually going this way instead of going with the U shape. This is actually quite easy to fix. So what I'm going to do is go to my upright, and I'm going to edit this sketch. Well, actually no, I just need to delete that and then redo the whole. That's the beauty of doing it this way and having multiple different sections, because you can edit these and it will work for you. So we want to make sure we're going on, nope, we want the other one. So we're going to draw on this one, because we want this going with our U shape. And we're going to click there, make that 6, go enter, right click OK, and then we're going to cut this one out just like we did before, except this time it's going to work and we're going to have it going the right way. Now we can save that, and let's see if it's automatically updated over here. It has. Fantastic. So we're going to have to delete a couple of our different constraints that we've made, so deleting those two there. So now we bring this out. Yep, that's fine. Alright, so now we need to constrain the tangent in here, and this we should flip this around. So constrain, we want that with that. Apply, let's have a look. Sweet. So they are both the right way, which is exactly what we wanted. So now we're going to go tangent, tangent that with that again, and make that -28. And go okay. So now we have that set up correctly. And that's probably one of the more confusing parts, because it's always circles, well I shouldn't say that, cylinders to cylinders are always quite hard to assemble. I'm actually going to save this, and this is going to be called upright assembly, and we're going to save that. Okay. Cool, and now we can move on to our next part. So what we're going to want to do is create another part, and we're going to create the cross brace, or the brace that goes along the bottom here. So now coming over here to part 9, start sketch, and going just here, right click. Cool. So we're on our first sketch. Again, just creating that simple rod shape, so making that 6mm diameter rod, and we want this to be 100mm across, so we need to extrude this 100mm. So you can see there, instantly comes up as 10. I'll just type, remembering as well, you don't have to put the 2 M's after the number, because it does that for you already. Now we need to go to our origin. We're going to cut the 2 ends out. I'm going to right click on there and then start 2D sketch. So we're cutting this out because it's going in between the 2 uprights. And if we left it just how it was, it would be sticking out and look quite funny instead of actually going over the end nicely. So we're going to do one there. And if we do both of these at the same time, it does minimize the risk of making a mistake. So we've got 6, 6, sweet, 3D model, extrude. And now we're going to cut these bad boys out. So clicking on those 2 circles, click on the outside edge ensures that you get it properly and not just half of it. And we can save this part as brace. Save that. Okay, so now if I go back to what it actually do, so I'm going to leave the uprights assembled, and I'm actually going to go and make a new assembly. Standard millimeters IM means assembly, and create that. And we're actually going to create our base assembly. So I'm going to start with my brace, open that, click. Okay, and we're going to constrain this just like we did the last one, actually, because just like my same logic I had before, I'm going to get upright assembly, open that, bring that in. Now, I did talk to you guys previously about the fact that it's way easier to constrain these things if they're flat. We have a flat surface on the top and we have a flat surface on the bottom. So we're going to use our big brains and constrain. So we've got our XZ plane, constrain that to this flat surface and apply that. And then we've got our, we have to zoom out a little bit. We've got our, where's our top one? We've got our XZ plane. Sorry, yeah, YZ plane, sorry. and we can apply that to that. So now this has been constrained nicely in place, and it should not move around, and it will allow us to do our next parts easily. So now if I place in my brace, open that, whoops, and we can right click and we're going to rotate it that way. Cool. And we can rotate it that way as well. So it's pretty well in the right spot. You can see how that's going to fit over the end over here. Right click and go, okay, we do just need one of these. Now what we're going to do is constrain this. So first thing we want is that center line in line with the center line of this here. And go, okay. So now, because we cut that perfect circle out of the end, that's going to fit perfectly over the top there. The next thing we want to do is actually make sure it doesn't hit our pole, but we do want to bring it in a little bit more to the center. So we're going to use tangent for that as well. So tangent from the end. So you can see there, and we actually only want to go in 20, Z, cancel that. All right. So you can see there, it's actually spinning around, which I don't like. It should be. I'm going to quickly double check. So when I constrain this, that should make it go on there. And I should actually, I might be able to tangent it to here to there, just like that. So now we've got both of them. It's got a nice little gap there, so you can see that it's not going to be hitting on it. Now we can import our other one. So if I place, and I'm going to place our other upright just over here. And same process of constraining this with this, and going apply, making sure no funky business is happening. And then we're going to go tangent this to this. And go okay, and just double check again. We are way off. Don't know why. Actually, I do. What I could do as well. We've got this plane here, and we can constrain the top of that. Whoops. The issue that I had then was I actually clicked on the edge of this circle, not the actual face of it. So if I click on that and go okay. Now we're perfectly straight. We're not perfectly straight, but we're perfectly in line with the top there. Alright, we do need to take out some of that twist. So to do that as well, we're going to use our lovely planes. Strain. And we're going to go okay. See, so using those planes has really come in good for us here. It has made sure everything is nicely lined up and ready to go, although they aren't lined up at all. So let's check out what is going on here. So to do this, what we can actually double check is if I go to upright assembly and have a look at our assembly and try to make sure that it's in the middle, press save. Brace is there. Alright, so actually, I don't know. It does actually look like it's the same. Maybe it's just the view that I'm going with. Okay, we can always come back and fix it later. That's one of the beauties of this program. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to call it base assembly and